September 1st, 2016. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 107 of You Can Bet on That.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Now, Mike, you just got back from a trip to the Grand Canyon with your family.
Correct.
Is there anything you can tell us that is pertinent to this show?
Pertinent to this show?
Yes.
Okay, well, after we left the Grand Canyon on the way back, we stayed a night in Sedona.
Oh, yeah. That's nice there, huh?
And we went to see the Montezuma's Castle. It's kind of what they call it. It's a national monument. Mm-hmm. But as you enter it, you enter an Indian reservation, and before you actually get to the monument, right where you turn off the highway, is the Cliff Castle Casino.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Now, you have to pass the casino to go to the monument, right?
Okay.
So I told my wife, I said, well, we got to stop.
Yeah.
We went to the monument first. You have to drive a little bit, get there. We saw that. So on the way back, we stopped at the casino just to check it out. We actually wanted to get something to drink, and we got some candy bars for the kids. Mm-hmm. Oh, and we bought flatbread from an Indian.
Oh.
I mean, fry bread. I said flat.
Yeah.
It was flat.
But it was fry bread.
It was fry bread.
Yeah,
oh, that's so good. Yeah, cinnamon fry bread.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Cliff Castle Casino, you know, unless you're actually going to see that national monument or you're in Sedona, don't make a trip there.
Okay.
It's basically all slots.
Okay.
And they have 4 tables of blackjack.
Yeah.
And they had a roulette table, too. No craps. Okay. But it's very small.
Yeah, no craps in Arizona, I don't think anywhere. That's my understanding, yeah.
They said, though, my wife asked somebody while we were waiting there, because they were doing construction, they're building like a 10-story hotel.
Okay.
So maybe they're going to expand the casino.
Oh, they must be doing well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it seemed like they were. We were buying the fry bread, and my wife said to the guy that was making it, she said, do they have craps here? Because we hadn't gone in yet. And he said, the only craps in there are in the toilet.
Wow.
That's what he said.
It's pretty graphic.
Yeah. So that was his exact words. And we were laughing because, you know, he was an elderly Indian guy, probably a member of that tribe.
Yeah.
Probably been waiting months or if not years to use that line, right?
Or it's standard, right?
Yeah,
He's just ready for it, right?
Standard,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Everybody who stops before I go in, is there craps? If not, I'm not going.
Well, it's funny. You brought me back a $1 chip, and I was very surprised to see that it was just basically a clay chip that you would buy at a store with a sticker on it.
Yes.
I mean, kind of like the ones we use for our card night.
I know. Well, when I got it, I thought to myself, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, we could forge these.
That's great. Did you see any? Now
I just don't want to end up on another podcast as the opening story. That's
right.
the only reason I won't
Listen
do
to
it.
what this guy did. Unbelievable. Now this was a $1 chip. Did you see any higher denomination chips?
Well, I saw some 5s and 25s. They looked the same to me.
Same kind of thing with the sticker?
Yeah, they looked the same.
Maybe
I didn't check out the 100s.
Yeah, maybe the big ones are a little more professional.
Now, we weren't going to play. We were just in and out, right?
Yeah, right.
And I went to the cage, and I wanted to get 2 $1 chips, and they won't sell you chips.
They won't let you from the cage?
From the cage.
Wonder
He said
why
you
that
have
is.
to go to the table, buy in, and bring it here and color up.
What? There's got to be a reason.
Yeah, I don't know what the reason is. So I had to go to the table. All I had was a 20, so I had to get $20, 3 5s and 5 1s, and then go
Yeah,
color
you didn't play
it
a
up.
hand or anything. You just
No, and then I went and colored $18 up. And the guy said, oh, you got your 2 chips, huh?
I wonder, if anybody knows, and maybe it's just a policy at this one, but maybe there's a very good reason. I just can't think of what it would be.
You know, maybe it has something to do with security with I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
mean, they can't pass out chips.
Yeah.
Although I've never asked at a cage for chips.
Well, let's try that this weekend and see if, I never have, no.
Yeah.
So let's.
And I take that back. I think like in, not free play, when I've used like an ATM thing, like a debit or something, and they say, how do you want that?
Oh, and they give it to you in chips.
They can give it to you in
that's
chips.
right.
I've had that happen before. You say, oh, I'm just going to go to the table, give me chips.
All right, who knows then what's going on? Yeah, that's true. Oh, well.
All right.
Welcome back. Thank
you.
Listener Neil asked us what we thought about how good or bad shooters at the craps tables are based on their race or their gender or how they're dressed. Basically anything that can set them apart from anybody else.
Okay.
First of all, what do we think of that? Do a lot of people think this?
Oh, I most definitely think people think things.
Sure.
Like, oh, I want to bet on her. She's young, pretty, and a novice.
Right. Something like that. Right. Or I've had, times when I'll be making a bet for like a friend. I'll be in Vegas and the friend says, oh, make a bet for me on the craps table, but make sure the shooter's wearing a cowboy hat.
Right. Yeah.
Something like that. Right. During the rodeo.
Yeah. They want a cowboy or they want, somebody of, I don't know what.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, it's the young pretty girl, right? I mean, if you're going to watch somebody roll for 30 minutes, and I'm hoping they do roll for 30 minutes, it's better that it's some young pretty girl and not some big overweight sweaty guy.
Sure, exactly.
Right?
That's just common
like
sense.
Like me, that's what they're thinking on the other side.
That's just common sense. But Neil's dad had some theories about, what makes a good shooter, just based on these kind of
what he's
superficial
had good luck
things.
with.
Right, yeah. Now, I have to admit that a lot of the fun I think that people have in gambling is believing the superstition.
Sure,
or pretending to believe the superstition, like you said, right? So what it comes down to is, no, your race, your gender, how you're dressed, none of that has anything to do with how good a shooter you are.
No. But if I'll back anybody who rolls well, I don't care who they are, right?
That's right.
They could look like a homeless person, right? A typical homeless person, whatever that is.
Right.
I
know a lot of people, like you said, do kind of believe this, but it's simply not true. I think what happens is a lot of people fall victim to what's called confirmation bias. That is the tendency to give greater importance to information that confirms an existing belief.
Some belief they already have.
Right. While giving less importance to information that contradicts that belief. So, for example, maybe a guy saw a guy with a cowboy hat, just have this tremendous roll. So he's decided guys with cowboy hats have good rolls. And anytime that does happen again, it's like, see, I told you.
Right.
But then if the cowboy, immediately sevens out, he just kind of discounts that or forgets about it.
Well, that was an anomaly.
Yeah,
we'll
right.
just
Something
move on.
like that.
Yeah.
But if you actually kept track, if you actually went in and said, I'm going to keep track based on race, gender, age, whatever, you'll find that nobody's a better shooter than anybody else.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say one thing that I do, and then, there's no reason for this.
This is probably just you having fun, right?
Yeah, me having fun. I hate to bet on people who look like they're in a bad mood.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Sure.
When they're shooting and they look like they're in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Or you'll see somebody just like throw the dice like, I don't care, and they just toss them.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I still bet on them because, they could have a good roll. I'm not that superstitious, but it kind of bugs me. It's like, I much rather prefer somebody in a good mood.
Well, it brings down the energy of the table. And I mean like the psychological energy.
Sure.
Your emotions, right? It has nothing to do with how the dice are going to go.
No, they could be a monster roll.
Yeah, you want to have a good time. And when somebody's not in a good mood at the table, it can really bring you down. Yeah.
If there's a guy shooting at the other end who's in a bad mood and he's playing the don't,
yeah.
In my mind, I'm thinking, have a great roll. Have a monster roll.
Maybe bet a little bit more on him.
Yeah, bet a little more on him. I'd love to see him get wiped out. I mean, nothing against him, but just the irony of it all.
Yep.
Well, a couple weeks ago, we talked about we talked about Julie, and she was very up.
Oh yeah, she was having a great time. High five, and then if she was in a great mood, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that just makes it more fun for everybody.
Oh yeah,
she happened to have a good roll. Even if she had had just a mediocre roll, it still would have been fun, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
There
exactly.
you go.
Yeah. All right, we got an email from listener Michael. He says, you have not had an Ask the Doctor question in a while, so I thought I would ask one. Have we ever had an Ask the Doctor question?
Well, I don't know. The doctor's in. I'm ready. Give me one. Fire one away.
We've had Ask the Dealer. Yeah. We've had Doctor's Orders.
Right, Doctor's Orders.
Right, so maybe,
that's probably what he's referring to.
Right. Well, this will be the new segment, Ask the Doctor, right? Okay, so here's the question. We are taking our first family vacation to Las Vegas over Labor Day weekend and staying at one of the resorts off the Strip to relax by the pool and visit friends. This is my daughter's first trip, but she is not 21, so we will not be gambling. However, it is college football opening weekend, so my wife and I can walk over to the neighboring casino to place some football bets. So my question is, do I teach my daughter about the over-under or the spread first? I like betting the money line and parlays, but I think the math may be a little advanced for her since she is only a year and a half.
Old.
Yeah, right. So very good question, Dr. Mike.
It's a good question. I put some thought into this, actually.
All right.
And I know with my two daughters, I first taught them about the over-under.
Okay.
Because I think the spread is a little more
It's a
complicated.
little tricky for a 1.5-year-old.
Right. You should wait until at least they start preschool. So like 3 to 4 years old. Then you start getting into spread. When they actually are in kindergarten to first grade, then you get into parlays.
Okay, and money lines and things like that.
Money lines like that. Yeah. But, so by the time they're 8, they can run the book at the school.
I think that's just common sense, Mike. Over under initially, because it's very easy.
It's
you
very
add the scores.
Is it going to be
over
too
or
much?
Yeah.
And what I do, and we do this now with my girls. I tell them, okay, well, this is what the line is for the over-under. It's like 42 and a half. And then I'm going over, I don't know how they what system they're using.
Sure.
But they must have a system.
Yeah, well, they win the football pool enough.
They have won the football pool enough, so yeah.
Yeah. Send your cards and letters to Dr. Mike for...
That's just my kids. Now, I don't say every kid needs to be doing this. Some kids are into horse betting, right? They don't need to know anything about football betting. This is my girls like football.
That's right. Kids, they find what they like.
Yeah, they find what they like.
It.
They'll fall into something. Yeah. That's why I have a craps table in my garage.
All right, good. Thanks for that question, Michael. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link at the top of the page. That way, when you make a purchase, we get a little kickback that helps cover the cost of hosting the show, and it doesn't cost you a thing. You'll pay the same price just like normal. Oh my gosh, we've got a butt ton of phone calls that we've got to get caught up on.
I know, I like it.
So let's jump into our voicemail hotline. Remember, call our hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
And maybe we'll play your clip on the show. First up is Rick.
Hey guys, this is Rick from New Jersey. Looking forward to seeing you guys at event. 3 things that I'd like to do when we're out there together, hopefully, is A, go to the Golden Gate, where by far they have the best crew. 2, go over to downtown Grand and get those free 4 and 10 place bets.
He did last time.
The other thing that we both kind of agreed on last time was how rough they were over at Binion. So we definitely have to go over there again and get harassed or be harassed. But it was pretty funny last time. Looking forward to seeing you guys, and good luck.
Yeah, I think Rick was the one who told the story about how he was over at Binion's.
Right.
And there was some young guy rolling the dice, and he wasn't, I guess, rolling it exactly as they wanted, and they took the dice away from him.
Exactly.
Moved it to the next place.
But we should all go over there, a big group of us, like 10 of us, right? Just take over a table early in the morning when nobody's there, and then just all roll. Just weird
real
stuff.
short rolls,
just
right?
Real weird stuff, right?
And then they'll get mad past the dice, and the next person will be the same thing.
Just, right? Yeah, pretend like we don't know each other.
I don't know. I think I just as soon not go back to Binion's. It left such a bad taste in my mouth.
I mean, I would only like to go back if I could hammer them.
Yeah, I know,
and
really,
I've loved Binion's for years.
I know.
One of my biggest wins is at Binion's.
I know, it's a shame.
It's just changed so much.
Yeah.
But you know what? We shouldn't judge them. Maybe it's changed again.
We
we
could
go over
try
there,
it
maybe
again.
there's a nice crew.
Let's go in with an open mind.
An open mind, a positive attitude, see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Hopefully we'll hammer them.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, speaking of VIMF, they still don't have the complete schedule of VIMF out, but there was a phone call, an audio stream the other night that Chuck and Hunter put on. And they didn't give away too much, but they did mention that Mike and I, Dr. Mike and I, will be having a craps session at Golden Gate. It sounds like it's going to be Friday, maybe around noon.
Good.
Something like that. And this is going to be a learn as you play session. So initially, when we start, we'd like novices to come to the table, and we will actually show you how the game is played while you play it. And we'll go through everything. We'll go through buying in and do's and don'ts and how you throw the dice and the bets that you make and the bets that you should avoid. We'll go over all that. We'll do that for maybe about an hour. And then we'll just kind of take over the tables, and everybody who wants to play with us can come on in. We're kind of thinking maybe just the novices at first, so they're kind of in a safe environment where they don't feel pressured by people who have played craps quite a bit. And then, after everybody's real comfortable, then we kind of take over the tables and go for that. And
maybe when we get closer and we know the times, we'll say, okay, from noon to 1 will be novices, and 1 to 3 will be,
just be open. And then, if you would like to play with us, and we want to meet as many people as we can, we're going to be playing craps that whole weekend. So we will
Right.
tweet, whenever we're going to play, and please just come meet us and play with us. And, so
And
we're
we'll
going to be playing quite a bit.
Yeah, we'll be downtown mostly.
Most of the time,
we
yeah.
may make a trip down
Maybe
to
that
the
Sunday night. We
Strip.
haven't really decided.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or some other night if,
Yeah.
a bunch of group wants to go casino hopping.
Yeah. So anyway, the schedule is more is going to be released this week. So as we get closer to VIMP, we'll talk more about the specifics. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that. All right, we got an audio message from Fred.
Hi guys, this is listener Fred. I love listening to your podcast because you guys actually tell gambling stories. And so I wanted to share a recent story of mine at the craps table in Las Vegas where I got to check something off my bucket list. I was with two buddies of mine who went to school with me years ago, and we were talking about how to get a no advantage bet on craps. And of course, the only way to do that is on free odds after you make a pass line bet. And we got together and decided, hey, we've never done a 100 times odds bet. And part of it is because we don't want to put $500 behind the line. But we decided that the way to do it would be to have us make a $5 pass line bet and then put the 100 odds behind it, which would be a minuscule advantage to the house. So we walked over to the Cromwell because they advertise 100 times odds, and I think that's mentioned in your podcast. Unfortunately, when we did get there, it was $10 minimum, and so we didn't want to put $1,000 up there. So we walked over to the Casino Real, and so when we got to Casino Real, we had decided we were going to divide up the odds bets three ways, but as we approached the craps table, one of my buddies got a little uncomfortable putting a full 1/3, which would be $167, and instead wanted to put in just $100. So that was fine with us. We divided it up proportionally. I'd put 200, another buddy put 200, and that third guy put in $100.
Good.
And then I agreed to front the pass line bet, win or lose, the $5 bets would belong to me. So we walked up to the craps table and we decided to bet only on a new shooter and only a 6 or 8 to reduce volatility. When we got there, there was a young woman who had a pass line of a 9. We let her roll until she 7'd out, and then the dice were passed on to another woman on the other side of the table. And then I tossed in the money. I got 5 black and 25 red. So that'd be $525. I put $5 on the pass line. Boom. There came out to be a 6. I put all 5 black chips behind that for a $500 bet. And the dice shooter proceeded to roll a 4, then a 2, then a 3, and then an 8. 8. That could have been our roll. And then she rolled a 9. And at that point, my heart was thumping. My heart was thumping, and my friends were all kind of nervous.
You're waiting
out
for it
came
to
out
come.
a beautiful 4 and a 2. Oh, let me tell you, we pumped our fists, we screamed, we collected $600 in black plus the pass line bet. I tossed $10 tip to the dealer, who wasn't that enthusiastic, although he did say thanks. And then we headed out. We wound up celebrating by buying a bag of sliders at the nearby White Castle.
Nice.
And one more thing off my bucket list. So more people really should consider pooling their money if you ever want to make a 100 times odds pass line bet. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right, good story. Yeah,
It
worked
is a
out
good
well.
story.
Yeah.
That's not a bad way to go.
No.
And when he's telling this, you know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about John Saxer,
Okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
guy we used to work with years ago,
Mm-hmm.
who would walk up behind people, most of the time people he knew.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Yeah.
if you weren't taking full odds, he would take the rest of your odds.
That's right. He would just go, "Can I take the rest of your odds behind?"
Yeah. So if you had a $5 bet on the line,
Yeah.
and you at a 5 times odds place, say,
Yeah.
and you had like a 6 and you had $15, he would come by and put, "Can I give you 10 for odds?"
Yeah.
And he would take the 10, so he'd win 12.
Yeah.
And he never made a pass line bet or anything.
That's right. He was zero house edge no matter what he
zero
had.
house edge, no
Yeah.
matter what he did.
Oh, that's true. I'd forgotten about that. John was such a great guy. He passed away a while back, but
he was
man,
a wonderful
he was
guy.
a terrific guy. Yeah.
And we had some good stories with him. But, I do that with Mark because a lot of times Mark will not take full odds.
That's true. Sometimes I
Especially
won't take full odds
when
if we're at
playing
a
at like
high limit table.
$15
Yeah.
table or a $25 table, and I'll take the rest of your odds.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
So it's like on that anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter because I've got my own odds. And
it's a great way for players to kind of play above their level. Is they kind of pool their money like that. Another thing you can do too is, say you're all playing at like a blackjack table. You can just all agree, okay, hey, we're going to play basic strategy, and we're just going to pool our money. We're going to bet the same amount every time, and just at the end, we'll all win and lose together. We'll just it doesn't really work at a craps table, because at a craps table, everybody at the table is pretty much winning and losing together. Unless somebody's betting the don't, you kind of win and lose together. At a blackjack table, you could have somebody who's just tearing up the game, and the guy next to him is losing like crazy.
You and your buddy can be sitting there, and he can get hammered. You could be winning. So, take your chances. Although, you pull it too. You could think the other way. Wait a minute, we lose. I'm playing by myself. I might have won.
That's true, but it does reduce some of the volatility too.
Sure.
And so if you're in a situation where, hey, let's go to the blackjack table, $25 is usually more than I want to bet. But if we're all doing it, then maybe we won't lose as much, we won't win as much, but at least we're all together in this. Yeah, there's no guarantee, of course, but yeah.
Well, we've done it. We played Pai Gow for years, where we'd pull our money and bank Pai Gow.
Yeah.
Right. We've talked about pulling our money, several of us, and playing in the World Series of Poker and just picking one person to play.
Yes.
Who's, conservative.
Yeah, we're going to do that eventually.
We're going to do that eventually. Yeah. I mean, because it's $10,000 buy-in.
Yeah,
I mean, none of us really want to put in $10,000 on our poker skill.
No.
But we would put in a couple thousand.
Yeah, I think so. Who would we send?
Yeah, probably you.
Thank you.
Yeah, probably you, because you're the most conservative. Although, we might have a better with somebody who is a little.
It may be Bill. It may be Paul.
A little more racy.
All right. Anyway, all right. Next call.
Hi, this is Jack from Philadelphia. We were just in Harrah's, Atlantic City tonight. We were playing some free bet blackjack, which, if your listeners are unfamiliar with the game, there's some weird rules with it, as far as doubling down and splitting, but, if the dealer gets a 22, that is a push, so no player will win on that bet if the dealer winds up with a 22. So we're playing the game, me and my buddies, at, Harrah's AC, and what happens is, the dealer hits a 22 and thinks he busts like he's doing regular blackjack, starts paying everybody, and some guy walks up behind me at the table and says, no, that's a 22.
Bozo.
Push.
What a bozo.
No one wins. And the dealer says, oh, yeah, and then takes all the money back as he was paying people out. This guy who wasn't even playing in the game just comes out of nowhere from behind us to point out the dealer has made a mistake. Okay, so none of the players made the money where the dealer was going to pay them out. And I thought that was really unfortunate for that guy. I just it really, really got me really, really mad. I'm still coming down off it. It only happened about an hour ago. But I just want to know your guys' thoughts on that, okay? So, dealer made a mistake, some guy corrects him, and he's not even playing the game. I just think that's just a terrible, terrible look for the guy who makes that call. Love the podcast. Thanks.
I'm not laughing at.
I know we're not
laughing at him. I feel
we don't
for
think
him.
it's funny. It's awful. It's so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous that somebody would say, I'm just going to go around and correct mistakes in the casino.
Yeah, it's one thing if you're there and the pit boss catches it. It's like,
we almost got away.
Even if a player at the table does it, it's like, what are you doing? But still, he's involved in it. But for somebody to stand, oh no, they don't win.
Maybe I'll do that.
No,
Maybe I'll just walk around a casino. Oh yeah, you paid him too much on your odds.
That's right. Yeah, all the players at the table they don't deserve that money.
Yeah,
it's just there are people out there who just feel like they need to correct everybody. I've got a little bit of that in me myself, right?
You have a little bit of that.
I don't think I'd do that.
No, you definitely wouldn't do that. Well, that's a good way to get yourself mugged.
Oh God, really. That is horrible.
Terrible.
It's just terrible, Jack. We feel for you.
I'd be up in that guy's face. I can't believe that. If you're playing in the game, like you said, we've all done this, and we do it at craps. I've done it myself. Wait a minute, that wasn't the roll.
Yeah,
with the cards at Harrah's Rincon where they use the cards. You turned over the wrong cards.
Yeah.
And you probably shouldn't say anything till you see what the roll is. It benefits everybody.
Yeah, right.
But I've preemptively done it just because, I like everything to be right.
Yeah, right.
But I'm not going to walk around behind somebody. Oh, didn't you see you got a straight here? You can play a straight.
That's right. The dealer, right? Oh, he's got pie gow. No, he's got a straight with an ace up top.
That might be the worst story we've ever heard on this
And
show.
free bet blackjack. Yeah, a 22 is a push. If you go back and listen to episode 31, we talk about free bet blackjack. But there are all these benefits that you get in it for doubling and splitting, and the way they make up for it is a 22 is a push.
I'll tell you, if I was Jack, I would have just real calmly said, "I want to get your picture." And then I would have just kept that picture and showed all my friends. Biggest dick in the world. Here he is.
Oh, sorry, Jack. Well, here's actually a good story.
Hey guys, this is T from Atlanta. Just getting caught up on my summer podcasts and wanted to make a quick comment about the Total Rewards Spring Tier credit. I know you guys have talked about that in the last several podcasts, but I have something actually very positive to say about getting rated at Harrah's Casino, which I do not say very often. But when the Spring Tier credit rewards came in around mid-July, my score was sitting at 14,966 points. So I was 34 short of diamond. And I knew from my last visit to one of the Harrah's casinos that I should have been over. So I went out to the Total Rewards website and submitted a question. And if you've ever done that before, you have to submit a question, to a specific casino. And so I listed the casino where I visited last. I don't want to name which one it was because I don't want to get this really nice person who helped me out in trouble, because I'm quite certain that there's a unwritten section of their guidebook that tells them not to be favorable to folks when they're giving them rewards. Anyway, I emailed and said, hey, I'm 34 points shy. Can you go back and review? I'm pretty certain that I earned enough on my last visit. I was playing $25 blackjack for hours, and I should have gotten more than 170 points or whatever it was that you guys gave me. Anyway, a few weeks later, I got a call back, and sure enough, they bumped me up over 15,000, no problem at all. And it was just a very pleasant experience. So the Spring Tier credit, which I found out through your podcast, so thanks for that, threw me into Diamond. So a happy ending. It was very nice. So that's about it. Going to be out in Vegas the weekend of October 14th, 15th when you guys are out there.
Okay.
And Mark, I think you and I have the same birthday too, if I caught that correctly on the a couple podcasts ago. So when we're out there, maybe our crew will come downtown, we'll come find you guys and shoot some craps. Thanks for the good job, and be good. Take care.
Yeah, good. Yeah, come on down.
Come on down. I'll buy you both a drink, you and him.
Me and T.
And T. Well, I'll buy you both
for the birthday.
Your birthday drink.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be a little early, but I'll buy you a drink.
Yeah, okay. Oh, nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Now
So you
I'm
got
really
that
looking forward to it. Yeah, nice.
Well, it's nice to hear that story because, Total Rewards has always been pretty cool with us.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. We've heard some bad stories, but
we've had a few bad experiences where we think things, it's kind of voodoo like we've talked about before, but at least they do come through. I think their customer service is good.
And, to get that close, he's practically there. It's nice to just kind of
hopefully now when he
edge.
goes in October, he can take advantage of some of the
diamond things. Yeah, definitely.
Use the Diamond Lounge
and the lines and everything. Yeah, that's great. Good. All right, let's hear from Matt.
Hey, guys. Really like the show. This is Matt in Indianapolis. Really appreciate all the work you guys put into the show. I've got kind of a strange question for you, and it relates to craps betting strategy. One of the things that I struggle with is the first hour or two at the table, particularly the first hour or two of your trip at the table, when you're kind of worried about losing your money so quick that you're going to have kind of a rough go at it for the rest of the night or maybe even the rest of the trip. And I find myself playing very conservatively during these first few hours of my trips, particularly to Vegas, because I'm worried that I'm going to lose my bankroll before too long. And so I kind of flipped this on its head and said, well, what if instead of playing conservatively, what if instead I just played very different and I used a totally different strategy? So here's what I'm curious to know your thoughts on. What if once a point's established, you put a significant amount of money, whatever that happens to be? For me, it might be $50 place bets on the inside, and then I would buy the 4 and 10 at $25 a piece for one roll. So the idea here is you're putting a lot of money out there for one roll only in the hopes that you can get a little bit of money back, pull all those place bets down, and then go back to playing your normal strategy. Whether that's a place bet, a couple of combats, a place bet, a combat, a couple of, obviously the pass line. So I'm just curious to know, I know it's risky at the outset, but would it help to alleviate some of the difficulty in grinding out those first hour or two where you're really trying to build a bankroll so that you can kind of relax for the rest of your trip? Just curious to know if you guys will oftentimes bet a little riskier at the beginning, or whether or not you feel like you need to build up some bankroll and play conservatively at the beginning. I'm kind of struggling with that. Anyway, appreciate your show. Thanks, guys.
I know there are some people who have a tradition of, you know what I do when I get to Vegas? I put a $100 bet down on blackjack right away, win or lose. And if I win, I'm up $100. And then, the rest of the trip, I just play like normal. And if I'm down $100, whatever. I don't know, though.
We neither of us vary our betting. I've never seen either one of us bet more at the beginning.
Oh, no.
Or
Is that what you're saying?
less at the beginning of a trip.
I don't think so. But
we basically play the same way the whole trip if we can.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, sometimes at the end you can't because you're out of money.
Yeah.
Or you've got a lot of money and you might be betting more aggressively at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But we always start off the same. Now, I wanted to make a point here. What he's talking about here is not we see that every week at Harrah's Rincon.
Where people are trying. Yeah.
Oh, because Robin, who plays out at Harrah's Rincon, real nice guy, bets fairly aggressively. He bets $150 6 and 8.
Each.
Each. He does not make a pass line bet.
Right.
He just waits for a point to be established. No matter what it is, he puts $150 6 and 8. When one of them hits, he goes down to $30 each on 6 and 8.
Yeah, and then that's the way yeah.
So, and then he builds up from there.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I've seen him hit the 150, gets paid 175. He goes down to 30 each on 6 and 8. He'll maybe put a quarter on the 9 or the 5 or something, right? And then if they hit, he just starts pressing them.
Right. So he's guaranteed up for the roll, and now it's just,
And it's not
graded.
a bad way to play because he's thinking, 6 and 8, right?
Yeah, I know.
But he's risking that $300 right off the bat. It's a gamble.
And he's doing that on every roll. So that's kind of, what Matt's talking about here is kind of doing it initially so there's a bit of a cushion for the rest. I just don't think, especially the example that Matt is giving, I don't think the reward is worth the risk, because if he does this and he goes exactly like he said, 50 and 60 on the inside numbers and buy the 4 and 10 for 25 each, the most he can win on that one roll is $70. Right. If one of the inside numbers hits, right? And then he pulls it down.
But he can potentially lose.
He could lose $270.
Right.
And that's going to happen 1 out of every 5 times.
Right. Well,
and let me just explain, because you might think, why isn't it 1 out of 6 times? Because 7 comes up 1 out of 6 times. Well, the next roll might be 2, 3, 11, or 12, and I'm assuming he's going to keep the bet out there, right? Because nothing was resolved. Right. So it's really 1 out of 5 times. You're going to be down $270, and now how's your trip going to be?
Right. Now it depends on your bankroll too, right?
Sure.
So if the 270 is a substantial, if that's 10% of your bankroll, I wouldn't do it.
Right. But what I'm saying,
if it's 1% of your bankroll, then maybe you're gonna.
But then why do it at all? Why are you even worried?
Right.
See, this is
why
what
are
I'm
you
saying.
Worried about
and the reward is $70. And how big is that for your bankroll?
Yeah. Thinking of both of those scenarios, I'd rather do like Robin and just put 150. You're risking 300 instead of 270.
Yeah.
6 and 8 have a greater chance to come up.
Yeah.
Right, and then just go down. I
don't know.
The other thing too, you risk. Dealers really don't like that system.
Well,
they hate putting all this up and taking it down right away. Not that should, that's their job.
Yeah,
right?
that shouldn't matter. Yeah,
but it's not a way to win friends, right? Putting stuff up and back and forth.
I think really, Matt, the idea is, be conservative at the beginning. I mean, that's if it goes bad at the beginning, well, good thing you didn't put more out there.
Right.
I know what Matt's saying, but I think the idea is play within your bankroll, and maybe you need a bigger bankroll.
Maybe
than
this is a better way to say it. I say not be conservative at the beginning, be cautious.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, why not play a little tight, like you're playing poker. Let's think about it. You were at a poker table. We'll play a little tight until we get a little cushion. and then we'll up it just a little.
Okay, right.
Not go crazy.
Not go crazy.
Just up it just a little and hope that we get a good roll. Now, if it goes bad, we'll go back to our, being cautious, maybe taking a couple of numbers.
Yeah.
Why not do that? And then if you happen to get on some good rolls early, you can always go up.
Yes,
right?
later. Yeah, once you're ahead. Yeah, I agree. All right, next call.
Hi, guys. This is Jimmy from Chicago calling. I just want to give you guys a little trip report. I just started listening to your podcast a few months ago, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I just came out there on August 21st, and we stayed for 2 nights, me and a friend. We stayed at Excalibur. And I'm more of a sports book and horse racing type of guy, so I spent a majority of my time at the sports book. And what I found out was, as long as you bet $10 on any horse in a race, they'll give you a drink ticket. And I thought that was astonishing because when I bet anywhere else, especially MGM, it's usually $100 for a sports bet or something. They were very generous with the sports betting tickets. I mean, you never really had to ask. They'd offer them, as long as you didn't seem too intoxicated or anything like that, they continued to offer them up. So, even on the floor, all the attendants and everyone else, they are all friendly. So, overall, it's a good time, and I would recommend anyone else to stay there as well. So, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Bye.
That's great news about Excalibur.
Yeah, that's very good.
Because, we hear a lot of stories now about how the casinos are kind of cutting back on free drinks, and the sports book has been notorious for being the hardest place to get drinks, right? Because people are basically just sitting there, right?
Understandable,
yeah,
right? I mean, you could be sitting there watching a game, not even betting. How does the cocktail waitress know what you bet?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's great. $10 and you get a drink. That's like positive EV right there.
Sure.
As long as you don't abuse it.
Right.
And, you're just making bets every race.
In that case, don't order a beer.
Yeah, really. So, yeah, that's good. Okay, well, thank you for the tip.
I've always
Excalibur.
liked Excalibur.
Boy, when's the last time we were there?
It's been forever since we've been there, but I've always liked it.
Really?
Well, it's open.
Yeah, well, that's true. I like open casinos.
I hate closed casinos.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
I like the big open spaces there.
Yeah.
And in the past we've done decent there.
I guess.
I mean, it's been
20 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but I remember some good trips there.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. All right, got a good story from Jason.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike, it's Jason, a.k.a. Buffalo Yo, giving you a call again. I listened to your last podcast, and I heard you talking about the two of you on someone's shoulder, and it made me think of a story that I've been wanting to call in. Let me take you back to September 13th, weekend 2013. My bachelor party, going to New Orleans, hanging out with my boys, having a good time. I started listening to this podcast a few months before that called You Can Bet on That. There's one host, Mark, who's very similar to me, smart, knows the numbers, knows the math, has a bankroll. And then there's another guy, Dr. Mike, the gambler we all want to be, can handle the variance, sees the numbers, knows the numbers, doesn't care about the numbers, wants to win big.
Exactly.
So on my bachelor party in New Orleans, I told my friends, I started listening to this podcast, and there's this guy named Dr. Mike who said, you bet the hard six. And you bet $5 on the hard six. And if you win, you press it all, and you got $50 on the hard six. And if you hit it again, you got $500, and you press it on the hard six. And if you win 3 hard sixes in a row, you turn $5 into $5,000. So that was my plan. So it's now Saturday of our bachelor party, and I'm down a few couple $100, and I start playing craps. Then I'm putting the $5 on the hard six. It's not hitting. Probably down about $45 on the hard ways, just playing the pass line. And then the first hard six comes. Oh, and it's beautiful. So now I say, press it. And the dealer's looking at me as he's seen I'm a pass line player, but he puts the $50 up top. So we keep rolling, and look at that beautiful thing. 2 threes, hard six, $500.
Collect!
But then,
press!
Men come on my shoulder. There's Mark. Well, Buffalo Yo, you're up a couple $100 now. You want to make sure you have some money to take home to the future wife.
That's right.
And then there's Dr. Mike. You came with a plan. You press it. You go for it.
Follow your heart. Go all the way. Go big or go home broke.
I took the money down, pocketed the $500, and I was at $200 for the trip.
Good for you.
Kept playing. Watched. Very next roll. Hard six.
I told you.
Could have been $5,000. Oh, I think about that a lot. But sometimes the devil wins, and sometimes you just can't listen to the devil. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll call you soon. Buffalo Yo.
Now, he didn't say who the devil was.
You're the devil.
No, I don't think
How
so.
could anybody say you're the angel of this situation?
I'll tell you what, though. Sometimes you just have to go for it.
I know, but $500, that's so hard to do. I mean, maybe it'd be easy for you, Dr. Mike, but for us peasants.
No, it's never easy. It's never, I'll tell you what, it's never easy. Because nobody, I mean, I don't care how much you have or what your bankroll is. You don't like to lose.
No.
Right? But sometimes you just get that feeling you got to go for it. And you know what? And when it doesn't hit, you got to be happy in your mind that, you followed your heart.
Okay, if you can be happy with that.
Yeah,
as you
I
see
can.
$500 go back into
I can. I mean, how many times in your life have you've had something, not gambling, but you've had something happen and you're like,
Yeah.
all right, well, it always works out for the best, Mark. Remember that. It always works out for the best.
Okay, I agree with you. Let's hear from Chris.
Hello, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Chris from Round Rock, Texas. Just got back from a couple of trips involving some gambling. Went to Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic. My wife and I usually go to Vegas in the summertime, but we didn't make it out there this summer. She wanted to go somewhere tropical, but somewhere that still had some gambling. So we went there, but sadly, the only place that had craps that we knew of was the Hard Rock, which we actually visited. But they only had a table that opened at 8 p.m., and it was $20 and up. So for those two reasons, both that we were there before 8 p.m., and even if we were there after it, we couldn't have played very long at a $20 table. We did not get to play any craps on that trip, sadly. Although Hard Rock, it was a nice casino. It wasn't Vegas-y, but it was a nice, nice place. Didn't have a lot of buzz or action. But I did end up going to Harrah's in New Orleans, which I had never been to Harrah's before in New Orleans, and that was very Vegas-y. It had a real Vegas feel to it. I thought it was nicer than the Harrah's in Las Vegas, and kind of reminded me of Paris. Just kind of decorated nicely, and I enjoyed it. The one thing that was a little bit steep was that the tables were all $15 and up. Even in the morning, I went at like 10 a.m. one morning. They had only $15 tables and $25 tables. So I've actually never played at a $15 table before. I don't really like playing at $10 tables, but that was all I had. And the first night we won a little bit, and then we actually had our fantasy football draft the next afternoon, and I was pretty exhausted after that. It was like, I think 3 in the afternoon, and, I was 50-50. Either do I go home and take a nap and then, go out later or just play some craps. And I thought, hey, you know what? I can take a nap anytime. I really can't play craps.
Your whole life's a
that
nap.
turned out to be a very good move. Me and one of my buddies went, and he had a tremendous roll. Actually, it was one of the all small, tall tables, and he had all the small ones. Was one away from it in all of them. Then I had a great roll right after that, and we just had so much fun playing, and everyone else was jealous because they actually did go back and rested at the hotel room for a little while. The only thing I didn't love about Harrah's was the last night we were there. One of the tables, it was, they were kind of, I don't know, just a little obnoxious. The dealers were a little bit rude. I was with a bunch of guys that had played either never before or just very little. And so they were making a few mistakes. Nothing major, but like where they placed their bets and things like that. And at one point, the stick man barked at one of my buddies, and I told him, you know what, hey guys, they've never played before. I get it, you got to follow the rules, but just be nice. And after that, he actually, the guy, because I was right next to the stick man, when they made a mistake, he told me, and I told them. So, he wasn't barking at him anymore. And really, the best part about the New Orleans trip was, I'm in my 30s, and everyone else is in their 20s, and not they may have played craps before, or maybe once or twice. But by the end, they were loving it. They were high fives and hugs at the table, and hitting the hard 6 and the hard 8. It was just a real good time. I really had fun with them and feel like I turned them on to the game, and so hopefully there'll be players that have more fun. So enjoy the show. Thank you guys. Appreciate everything you do, and hopefully I get to play craps with you guys sometime. All right, bye.
Yeah, there's no better place in the casino than a craps table that's winning. It's like nothing else. And yeah, people who've never played before just don't kind of have a sense for what it's like. It's great when new players, can kind of play for the first time and realize how fun it can be.
And if it's going well.
Yeah, it has. You could lose anywhere, but yeah, it's nice when it's going well too.
Right.
That's why I've always thought it's surprising that our friends, specifically Mary and Paul, have never really gotten into craps. For whatever reason, they prefer blackjack and pie gow poker and video poker, which is fine. But
they're good friends of ours.
Yeah.
And for the life of me, that's the one thing that bugs me about those two is, we've gambled with them. We've gone trips with them, right? Specifically for gambling.
Yeah.
We've gone days gambling with them, and they won't play craps.
Yeah. I think what it is that they don't like how a 7-out can just devastate your bankroll.
Right.
But,
But by the same token, I mean, you make a blackjack bet on that single bet. There's a finite amount of money you can win, right?
Yeah.
Or lose.
I see what you're saying, right?
Whereas craps, you can have a few bad rolls and your bankroll will go down, but then you have one big roll and it's all back, right?
Yeah.
So you're waiting for that hot roll. Maybe that's what they don't like. Maybe they don't like having to be patient for that roll.
Yeah, that could actually be it. Yeah. Okay, let's hear from August.
Hey guys, I just had a couple things for you. This is August from Bath. I went to Seneca Allegheny over the weekend and had a nice craps session. I sort of lost track, but I even either 7'd out on my 8th or 9th point, which was definitely my longest roll, so that was nice. People were loving it. And then I made a trip out to the Tioga Downs Casino just to check that out. And they don't have any table games because they're getting their advanced gambling license, whatever that is. But they had the best video poker that I've seen. And Mark, I wanted you to see if this was a positive EV game. It was a 9-6 double bonus dollar machine, except the Royal Flush paid 5,000 instead of 4,000 credits. I'd never heard of before. So I thought that was really cool. And then I just had a quick thing about buy-ins. Been talking about how much money you need. People always assume that they need less than they actually do. So I just wanted to share my way of doing it. So if I'm buying in at a $5 table, I buy in for $6.20, which is a stack of each color, green, red, and white. And that way I can sort of compartmentalize my bets. I use the whites for dealer bets and prop bets, my reds for the base bets, and then greens for my odds. And that sort of prevents me from getting too crazy with betting quarters on the hard ways and everything. And then sort of a natural progression from there, $10 and $15 table, I buy it for $11.20, so you get an extra stack of green, gives you a little more room to weather the storm. I've never played at a $25 table, but I guess if I was gonna really play it and still play the same way, I'd buy in for $2,600, and then it'd be a stack of black, green, and red. And I think that's just sort of a nice way to do it. And it's easy for the dealers too. They don't even have to count out the chips. They just hand you the stacks. So that's my method. I wouldn't call it a system, of course, but that just seems to work well for me if you're trying to be at the table for a few hours and be realistic about it. So yeah, anyway, I love your guys' show. I look forward to it every time. Yeah, I'm hoping to come out for Vimp, but I don't think it's going to happen. But it occurred to me, my birthday's October 14th, which is the first day of Vimp. So obviously what I need to do is go to Caesar's Palace and roll the fire bet for you guys. So I'll see if I can make that happen.
I don't see any other thing you would want to do.
I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Good. You're going to have to buy 3 drinks now.
3 drinks.
One for T, one for me, and one for August.
Sounds good.
There
I'll
you go.
get 2 for August because it's actually his birthday.
It'll be your birthday on the 4th. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, they don't have the fire bet at Caesar's Palace anymore.
I know.
But they still do have some fire bets on the Strip, so maybe we can do that. Well, August,
Cromwell?
I hope you can get out there. Cromwell still has it, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go to Cromwell and do 100 times
I like
odds.
what he's talking about, just getting those stacks of chips.
I like the money management.
Yeah, it helps you stay disciplined. If you're kind of using the colored chips to determine, how am I doing? Where am I betting? Yeah.
Right, yeah. That's not a bad way. It's good money management.
Yeah.
Before you talk about his double bonus, I just want to go back real quick to Chris's call.
Okay.
$20 craps table.
Oh,
have
that
you ever
early?
seen that?
$20 craps table? No, I think maybe I've heard about it, but that's very unusual.
We've seen $1, $2, $5, 10, 15,
and then 25. Very rarely.
I've never seen a $20 table.
No, I don't think I've seen it.
It's a weird amount.
Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah, that's very strange.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the double
bonus. 9-6 double bonus where the Royal pays 5,000 coins when you're playing 5 coins. That's very good. It's not positive EV, but it is over 99%. It's about 99.5%, 99.52% about that. So I don't know, depending on the comps, you could actually turn that play into a positive EV play.
Right.
If you're playing a perfect strategy on that. So, yeah. Sure. But that's very good for a double bonus. Yeah, I've never seen that before. Yeah,
I'd take that, 9-6.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Sean up here in North Texas. I just wanted to call in and tell you about a recent kind of a local casino thing I had not too long ago, about a week or so ago. This reminded me of your 14-8 in your podcast a few weeks ago, about a month ago. I went up to the Oklahoma casino, WinStar. That's our closest casino to where we live. And to play some blackjack. The craps there is totally without dots and not even really with cards. It's just really weird. Anyways, sit down. I'm a very low level player, betting $15 a hand. But they have good rules there. Dealer stands on soft 17, 3-2 on the blackjack. But the biggest one is split. You can double after split. You can split multiple times. All that. It's also a continuously shuffling machine, so the only advantage you have is that they have to hit and you get to do whatever. Anyways, been there for about 30 minutes and I get dealt 2 8s. So I split. Get dealt another 8. Oh, okay, Dealer's holding a fairly decent card for me, so that's good. And then I get the 4th 8. Well, I play it out and I actually win 3 of the 4. I'm thinking, alright, so turn my money around, almost $100 right there. 30 minutes later, exact same thing happens, except I actually get dealt a 3 on one of my 8s, on one of my 4 8s, and I double down. I win all 5 of them at $15 a pot, including the other double down. My brother's in there with me, and he's getting mad and everything else, and then, the whole table's excited, of course. But, no joke, it was like 30 minutes later, I got dealt 4 8s again. And once again, not only did I win all of them, but I actually got to double down on 2 of them. Because I had good cards against, the dealer up card. Anyways, I just thought I'd tell you guys about, I didn't get 14 8s, but I did get 12 8s, and I did win, actually, more hands than the 12. So I walked out of about $350, $400 up. So it was a good night. I did actually go over there and try what they call craps. Me and my brother were the only ones playing. It was so weird. For whatever reason over in WinStar, they deal themselves out 3 cards. Then they take one of the cards, they run it in front of this little thing there, and then a number shows up on the screen above it. I had no clue. That was the craziest thing ever. Played it for a while. Whatever. Actually won like $80 and said that was it. So, anyways, just thought I'd tell you all about my 8.
And then he got cut off there after the 3 minutes. Sounds like maybe they've changed the craps table from how we learned they did it with the cards.
Yeah.
Sounds like they
maybe
did
they
something.
have.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Well, what's the most 8s you've had on a blackjack that you've split?
That I've split maybe once I've had for it. You had 5 once?
5.
Yeah?
Yes.
How'd it go?
5. It did not go well.
Yeah. Well, see,
it did not go well.
See, that's the thing is that when you split 8s, it's really a defensive move.
Right.
You're going to lose less money in the long run by splitting 8s because a pair of 8s is a terrible hand.
Right.
And if you just played it as a 16, you're going to lose more than if you split.
Right.
So when you actually end up winning in almost every single hand, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's great.
It's basically defensive. Yeah, Paul was with me, and it's like 8, okay, pair of 8 split, another 8 split, another 8 split, another 8 split, 5 8s.
5 8s. And
I think I won one of those.
One of them. The worst part was it was a single deck game. So something was
something was weird. No, it was one of those 6 deck shoes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But it's so frustrating. I mean, there's 5 8s in a row. What are the odds? It's like getting what did Uncle Ike say that one time?
It's like getting a Delta straight flush in blackjack?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
it was something crazy.
My favorite part of Sean's story is that his brother got mad.
Yeah, what was his brother mad? He didn't say what he was mad about.
He was just mad that his brother was winning, right? His brother was it's just sibling rivalry, right? He can't be happy for his own brother. Right? He's just mad. Yeah. He's just mad that he keeps winning.
His brother's probably behind and saying something like, well, no, you can't double down there.
That's right. That's not allowed. See, the rule at the table is 1 split, and then you can't double after that. Oh, that's great. Okay, one final call from Eric.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Eric from Indianapolis. First time calling in and just wanted to share a quick report about a new casino I just visited called the Blue Chip. It's in Michigan City, Indiana. I was up working in the area about 20 miles away and had a free evening, so I thought I'd drive over and check it out. Actually a pretty decent little casino. They had tons of slots and video poker machines, of course. Also had a good variety of table games, though. If I remember off the top of my head, they had blackjack, roulette, 3-card poker, ultimate Texas Hold'em. And they had some game I'd never heard of called High Card Blush. I don't know anything about it. It is on Wizard of Oz, but I didn't spend too much time looking it up. I was mainly interested in checking out the craps. So I walked over to the craps pit, and I think they had 4 tables. They only had one of them open. It was a Tuesday night, so that's probably why, but They had it open as a $5 table, 20 times odds, good crew. They did have the features bets, the all tall, all small, and hit 'em all. Oh, and the 12 in the field paid triple, and I don't play the field, but the reason I bring that up is a fun story. I was watching the table for probably a half an hour before I actually walked up to play it, and there was a guy there that was only betting the field. That was the only bet he made, $5 in the field every time. And shockingly, it was not going well for him. He finally gave up and left, and I pulled up to his spot and had been playing for probably about 40 minutes. It was going okay, not great. The dice came back around to me, and as I'm getting ready to shoot, Mr. Field Bet Man comes back and cashed in for $20. So they handed him 4 chips, and I came out on an 8. He watched my come out roll. He didn't make a field bet, but after I came out on the 8, he started making his field bets again. And these were my next 3 rolls, a 5 and a 6, and then I made my 8. So he's down to 1 chip, and on my new come out roll, instead of making that field bet again, he actually put it on the pass line, and sure enough, I rolled a 12. So he threw up his hands and walked off, and I kind of chuckled to myself a little bit because I could not possibly have gone any worse for him. Funny little story. I thought I'd share it. Listen, I really liked the podcast. I found it about 3 months ago. In the meantime, I've listened to every single episode. For some reason, I started with the most recent episodes and went backwards, so that's an interesting way to catch up on a podcast. You kind of hear the audio quality slowly deteriorate instead of go the other way around. But your content and everything that you do from the first episode I thought was just great, and that's not something that you find with a lot of podcasts. So would love to play craps with you guys sometime. I'll actually be up in Vegas in October, but it'll be the week after Vince, unfortunately. So maybe another time. Keep up the good work, guys. Thanks.
I can't bring myself to listen to those early episodes. Yeah. Right? Says, hi, welcome to You Can Bet on That podcast for the. It's just
the reverb that's in there. Well, you're in a bathroom.
Yeah, a bathroom.
I mean,
that's
cut
rough.
Us some slack.
That is rough. That's a great story about the field better. I mean, it's you know.
How many times have you seen that?
You don't want a guy to lose, but talk about just perfectly bad timing.
Well, you know what's funny is, remember not too long ago we were out at Harris Rincon, and there was a guy, he was betting real heavy in the field, like $200-$300. Remember?
Yeah, big,
and he hit a few of them. He'd hit like a 2 and a 12 and hit a few, and his stack just grew like crazy.
Yeah.
And you and I are sitting there like watching this thinking, what the hell, come on, let's get some numbers, right? And sure enough, after a while, it just caught up to him.
Yeah.
And eventually he was wiped out and left. He came back a few minutes later from the ATM with some more money, put it down, made a few more field bets, got wiped out. Oh my God.
It can be rough in the field.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are all the calls. That's going to do it for this episode. Hey, we want to thank some people for some PayPal donations. First of all, a recurring donation from Brian and Sarah. Thanks very much. We're going to see you at VIMP, hopefully, so we're looking forward to that. Also, a recurring donation from Zach. Thanks very much. Also, Fred, he was the one who called in talking about he and his buddies going in on the 100 times odds. He said, thanks for the heads up on the crap scene in Vegas, particularly the 100 times odds at Cromwell and Casino Royale. Also from Ed, our good buddy on the East Coast who we met over in Atlantic City. He says, Mark and Dr. Mike, 105 podcasts. I can't believe how long I've been listening to you guys. Thanks for all the info and entertainment. Here is an Atlantic City Karma donation for an overnight on August 25th and the 26th. Hope you did well on that trip, Ed.
Yes.
Also from Baccarat Guy, he is in Macau. He said a donation from Macau Wynn Palace opening. All the best. He's from travelzork.com, and he's been posting a lot of Wynn Palace pictures on social media. So it's nice that he's over there. And finally, Ethan, the Blackjack Challenge guy, thanks very much. He says karma donation to hopefully turn this trip around. So Ethan, hopefully that went well for you. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program to search through all the raw American TV data. Just go to our webpage, youcanbetonthat.com, and click on the link at the top that says TV listings. And you get it's not just gambling stuff, it's like Vegas stuff and Atlantic City stuff. Mark, over at 360 Vegas, if you'd been looking at these TV listings, you would have found out about Las Vegas Law, that TV show that premiered quite a while ago. So, you got to check out these listings. Hey, we'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS. Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. Also, follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat. We tweet when we're heading to a casino, and we'd love to meet up with you. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. And finally, head on over to iTunes and write a review on us. when you do, it helps us get new listeners, supposedly. Mike.
You know, I'm still laughing to myself about Sean and his brother getting mad at him. I just love that. And I hate to say this, and think poorly of me if you will, okay?
All right.
But not so much my brother or my dad, but friends, you included, and
Sure,
some
of
other
course.
people. You know, when you're sitting at a table, especially blackjack, and you're losing, and nothing you do seems to work, and your friend next to you is just winning like crazy.
Of course.
And, you know, he's drunk off his ass, and he's just winning like crazy, and you're thinking to yourself, what the hell? I mean, you start to get a little steamed.
Sure.
And then you feel bad because you're like, well, that's my buddy.
Yeah, I
I'm
should be happy
he's
for
winning.
him.
Right, because I want to borrow from him later, too. So the more he wins, the more I can borrow.
Yeah.
And it always takes me back to that trip where our friend Paul won all that money playing blackjack at Harrah's, and then went over to Caesars and won a huge amount of money. I mean,
tens of thousands of dollars, and he was drunk.
And he was drunk so bad
Yeah.
that they got a security guard to stand behind him.
Yeah, so
they were probably worried somebody would roll him.
Yeah,
because he
right.
had a lot of money and a lot of chips. And I'm just standing behind him. Me and Mary were standing there behind him, and I'm thinking to myself, God damn it. How can this be happening? You know what? I'm kind of happy because I'm thinking I'm going to borrow some money from him because I was already out.
We've been playing craps. We were in trouble. Yeah.
But it was like, and you feel so guilty. It's like, you know, but it's true. You know, it's I don't know. It's human nature.
I guess
right?
for some of us, it's human nature.
Fortunately, I always find my right spot and say, "Oh, I'm glad he won."
Good.
You know, because I go home and I'm happy he won, happy whoever won. My brother and I actually don't gamble together that much. So,
no, it's true. He's usually on slots. You're usually on craps. Sometimes you play together, but
we're always different. But I'm happy when he wins.
Yeah.
I'm sad when he loses.
Yeah.
I'm really happy when my dad wins.
Yeah, that's no question. You never see your dad win and think, oh, why is he winning?
No, because it's way nicer when he wins.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right.
And also, I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
We got to get back to Atlantic City and see Ed.
Yeah, I know. We got to get to the East Coast. Maybe next year. Yeah, it'll happen. It'll happen.
We got to see those guys again.
I agree. Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.